What's up guys, Scissor Pure, and welcome back to another video. Saints Row is one of my favorite game franchises of all time. I want to see nothing but the best for this series, not only for the two kinds of Saints Row fans, but also people who will eventually find their way towards the series. With that being said, I have a few ideas I'd like to share with the community on how Volition should continue their Saints Row series, as well as what I like to see in the future titles. In the past, I've heard ideas passed around by other Saints Row YouTubers such as Saints Godzilla and the Flipster on how to reboot the series. The idea goes as follows: get rid of some of the major important characters like Julius, Dex, and Troy, and replace the player with a Chad by the name of Jonathan Saharnis. First and foremost, I would like to give my opinion on this idea. Frankly, I'm not a big fan of it. Not only will it contradict with a bunch of the Saints Row lore as well as the backstory, it will piss off a massive portion of the already damaged Saints Row fans. So if rebooting the series isn't an option, then what should Volition do to fix the Saints Row storyline? My answer is universe separation. This has been proposed in the past, but not in the way that I would like. My interpretation of this idea would be separating both the OG games with the new school games. The OG being Saints Row 1 and 2, the new school being the 3rd, 4, and Get Out of Hell. Splitting both generations of games into two separate universes can satisfy both the OG fans and the new school fans alike. Just think of how Teen Titans Go is to Teen Titans. They're separate in their own ways. Now, I don't have any idea on how game development works, but seeing as video game development cycles take upwards to 3 to 5 years to complete, including open world games, how will we get the right amount of each Saints Row? The first thing Volition can do is start building their next Saints Row game within the OG universe. Make it somewhat like Saints Row 2 with its dark tones and serious narrative. While that game is being completed and shipped, another team can start making their own standalone expansion for the game, involving the new school universe, and releasing it as a holdover while we wait for the next Saints Row game, basically leapfrogging each other. I find this the best way both fans of the series can enjoy Saints Row. Okay, now let's talk about the story. Now, how will I want the series to go forth from this point? Well, the OG Saints Row universe can take place right after the events of Saints Row 2. Maybe have it set back in a more expanded, detailed, and upgraded version of Stillwater, having the Saints go up against waves of new and old gangs. And finally, a true conclusion to the Dex saga. Maybe have Dex create his own mega corporation with the money he made while being in Ultor. And who knows, maybe his company could be the new authoritarian figure. That would be interesting. As for the new school Saints Row, I would like to see it in one of two ways. The first being having to take place right after the events of Saints Row the 3rd. This will have to take place right after the Save Shaundi ending, and both Saints Row 4 and Get Out of Hell will have to be movies set in this universe, similar to how Gangsters in Space was, but that leaves one major problem with this universe, and that would be Johnny will still be dead. Or will he? How about instead of Johnny being killed on the plane during the first sequence of Saints Row the 3rd, maybe Johnny was knocked out unconscious and was actually secretly kidnapped by Philippe and his goons to be cloned by what's left of the Syndicate. Killbane. To get back at the Saints for ruining his plan of taking over the world or something. Who knows, the Syndicate maybe wanted a piece of that Johnny Gap pie, or a whole army, who knows. This would eventually correlate to the scrap game Volition and THQ had in mind right after the Enter the Dominatrix DLC for Saints Row the 3rd, a DLC expansion that was eventually cancelled and turned into Saints Row 4. This scrap game Volition was working on is known as Saints Row 4 Prime, the true Saints Row 4. In this, the Saints would have visited a brand new city in which they find an evil clone of Gat, causing mayhem and destruction wherever he goes, accompanied with clones of evil people from history, such as Stalin. This could ultimately end up with a reveal that Johnny was very much alive and being cloned by Killbane, which leads to the next Saints Row game, which would set up to finally kill Killbane. That's how I would like the universe to be headed in if Volition decided to scrap Saints Row 4 and Get Out of Hell, but just in case they don't, I have a solution for that, which would mean Saints Row 4 would be canon with Get Out of Hell being thrown aside, meaning Saints Row 4's time traveling ending will be canon. What I would like to see it start off with is the Saints visiting various locations from the past, and considering the time machine was new and unstable, it could cause a machine to overflow and screw up, causing many rips in the fabric of time and space. This will force many parts of Earth and various parts of time to come together and combine this new super city, which will be taken over by a syndicate of the most evil people from history, kind of like in Saints Row 4 Prime, and each part of time could be its own district. Maybe have 1920s or 1950s Manhattan or Chicago be its own hood, being controlled by Al Capone and his mob, or some other mafia gang from those eras. The ancient Egypt can also be a hood, being controlled by some wicked pharaoh. Modern day Stillwater can be its own hood. Medieval England or medieval France could be another. Pretty much the possibilities here are endless. Story-wise, on the other hand, I'm not sure how it will play. Maybe have the Saints collect special artifacts from each period of time to fix the space-time continuum or something like that. Honestly, Volition would do a better job at storytelling than me. Well, there you have it. That's how I would like to see Saints Row play in the future. Thank you all so much for listening to what I have to say. Please let me know what you think of my ideas. I'm sure there's many flaws in all of them that I'm not seeing, but you guys can point them out and I'll probably try fixing them or make a future video on it. Thank you all for watching and I'll catch you guys later.